Making club growth a priority is the goal of Rotary clubs around the world. District 5360 recently held a workshop led by Jim Adamson. His content is packed full of ideas you can immediately implement at your club. There's new member engagement, member retention, and club branding. Download the workbook that Jim follows by going to Rotary5360.ca. Click on Membership Resources. It's Rotary Membership, Priority 1.
So it's now my pleasure to introduce Jim Adamson, past district governor and Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Wenatchee Sunrise, Washington State. Rotarians, please, a warm Alberta and Saskatchewan welcome to Jim Adamson.
Warm. Is that an oxymoron for this time of year up here? Yeah, thank you very much for the warm welcome. Yesterday I stepped off the plane. It was a balmy, 7 degrees? That's pretty good, though. That's not bad. Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. This is going to be an exciting day, and I'm glad you're here. And those in Lethbridge and Red Deer and Medicine Hat, thank you for tuning in and for taking your Saturday. There's going to be some great stuff here. Let me first of all tell you a little bit about myself. I am from Wenatchee, Washington. For those of you that don't know where that is, you just go south about 3 or 4 hours, go west about 5 or 6 hours, and now you run into Wenatchee. Put an X across Washington State, and we're right in the middle. I am probably retired from an education. That's my background. I was a school teacher for 12 years, middle school, the wild years. Anybody got middle school kids? Yeah? So sometimes talking to Rotarians is much different. Middle school teacher for 12 years, then I went into school counseling, did that for 18 years at the high school level, and then I retired back in 2003. Since then, I've been working with a nonprofit organization that helps put people back to work that are either low income, low basic skills, or displaced from a job, dislocated. So that's been a lot of fun, and it's very part-time. They let me off whenever I want to go off somewhere, so that's good. I am married, have a wife, 2 kids that are both married and living, unfortunately, away from Wenatchee a bit. They each have 3 kids. We have 6 grandkids. They're the best. How many have grandkids? Don't you wish you could have just skipped the kid phase and gone right to grandkids? They're awesome. I was going to have Neil introduce himself just a little bit, because I don't know if you all know, I mean, you've seen him, but do you really know him?
Thanks, Jim. My name's Neil Berg. I'm an investment advisor and portfolio manager with RBC Dominion Securities the last 3 decades. I've lived in Red Deer, Alberta, Canada for the last 33 years. 2 grown sons. One's a mountain guide and the other one is a writer who lives in Europe right now. I love outdoors, as yourself. Fishing, hiking, golf in the summertime, skiing and curling in the winter. And I keep threatening to take up hockey again.
The reason we want to do this is because as we talk about attracting and retaining members, how important is it for members that are in your club and for people coming into your club to know people's names, to know their vocations, to know their passions, to know what they're interested about? Is that important for retention of a person, do you think? So many times we have introductions that don't include any of these things, and I think as we go through, you're going to see today why that's important. I always like to get one for the record book, so see where I'm at. So my wife knows that I really was doing something this weekend. This is the objective, to help your clubs be able to really get your best Rotary brand experience. So this is a term that you're going to hear more about probably. We haven't talked about the Rotary brand experience, but basically this is everything you do as a club and as a Rotarian. So just think about that including everything. That's part of our Rotary brand experience, and that includes club culture. And so we're going to talk about ways to really make this the best and improve what you've got already for your Rotary brand experience, your club culture, and then that's going to help you, I think, with attracting and retaining new members, as you're going to see. Siegel & Gale, this is a big outfit that's worked with these people in the past, a reputable consulting firm. Well, Rotary figured there was something wrong also, so we're going to hire a consulting company to figure out, what the issues are. And so Siegel & Gale came and they interviewed over 20,000 Rotarians and non-Rotarians, and trying to figure out what's going on. And they ask lots of questions, but here are some of the results they found out. In asking people about Rotary, out of every 10 people, 4 of them had not even heard of Rotary. So 40% didn't know anything about Rotary. Another 40%, or another 4 in 10, just kind of knew the name, and only 2 in 10 or 20% had some idea of what Rotary does. That could have been some of the Rotarians. So the fact is that if we want to go out and attract and retain members and do good things in our community and the world, it's hard to do and nobody knows about us. So they have asked, why did you join Rotary? And then why did you stay in Rotary? I had a real selfish reason yet. Mine was selfish. I joined for networking. I was an educator, and I wanted to find what people did for a living out in the business world, because all I knew were teachers. That was the extent of the people I ran around with. And so for me, it was to get to know some other people and some business people. I know there were a couple people in our club that joined because they thought it would improve their business. So when they asked this question, though, why do you think most people said they joined Rotary? Okay, fellowship, fun. Number 1 was local impact, to make a local impact in the community they lived in. And right behind that was for friendships. And then down below that, you've got networking opportunities, personal and professional recognition, training and leadership opportunities, and at the bottom of the list, to have an impact globally. So in the past, global has been pretty important to us, and it still is, and it should be important, but it's not the main reason that people join Rotary. They join Rotary for the local impact they can do, and they join Rotary for the fun and the fellowship that they can create and the friendships. So when asked why they stayed in Rotary, that's the answer. Not much different, except that the friendships are now a little bit more important than the local impact. So as people join Rotary and as they stay in Rotary, those friendships become even more important. You've all experienced that. That's one of the reasons probably you're here. Local impact is still very important. Together, that's about 3/4 of, 75% of the reason people stay in Rotary are for those two things. And then when you throw in networking opportunities, the personal development, the training and leadership, which are all, basically local area issues, that's just under 90%. Global impact has gone up from 8 to 14. Why is that? More education. The longer you're in Rotary, you start to learn about the foundation. You start to see these world global projects going on, and all of a sudden you start taking more of an interest in that. Now, this is just a pretty well representative sample, but again, the point is we need to focus on those top 2 or 3 things. To get people to join Rotary, to get people to figure out, what's going to be the value to me. What are they looking for? We know what they're looking for. They're looking for friendships, and they're looking for an opportunity to make a local impact, and maybe to get some networking, some personal development, some leadership skills, and that sort of thing. The global part, that will come later as they go through. So like any business, Rotary took a look and said, well, what do we need to do for our customers? And as a club, each club, we need to take a look at that same mentality. If we ran our club like a business, who are our customers? Anybody shop at Costco? You have Costco's up here? Oh, yeah. Costco's treat their members pretty well. They even give us wider parking places, which is cool. $1.50 US, hot dogs and a soda. So they try to make the membership important and do things for their members. Rotary should do the same thing, and when it comes to that, who are our customers then? Our members of our club. Those are the people that we need to, figure out, give them value, figure out what we need to do to keep them happy. And so this is the people that we're going to focus on. The new people coming in, the people we're trying to retain, our Rotary Club, to meet the needs of our customers. And now that we know what the needs are, local impact, friendships, development, growth, that kind of thing, we can start to think that way and tailor things to that way. Again, here's what our customers want, basically, in a nutshell. Friends and contacts, that's part of the networking part. Very important. Making a local impact, they said they want. That's the number 1 reason they join. Number 2 reason they stay. The engagement of skills and passion. And this could be kind of tied in with the vocational service part of our club. You don't hear much about that, but really this is, what do you do? What's your vocation? And how many clubs fine people for talking about their business in club meetings? Okay, yeah, a few. Not so many anymore. We used to always do that. You know, you get an advertisement in the newspaper or somebody talks about their club. Oh, yeah, it's $5 fine. We need to be encouraging that because we want everybody to know what people's passions are, what their vocations are, what they do for a living, what their skills are. And so if this is what customers want, this is what we need to be talking about and utilizing during our club meetings and our club times. And then the engagement of those skills and passions. You know, we just don't want to know that, you know, I'm an auto mechanic. I want to be valued for that, but how can I use that skill in service to our local community? You know, maybe we can go host an oil change for, you know, single women or something on a Saturday. You know, how can I put my talents and skills to use? How can I engage those skills? And if that's what people are looking for, we as a club need to provide opportunities for that. And working with leaders. So this is more, we're a leadership development organization, and this is more than just being a leader. It's more than just leadership training, as some of you have gone through. How many president-elects in the room? Yeah, thank you for getting suckered in. I mean, thank you for your service. How many presidents in the room currently? Okay, yeah, thank you. Assistant governors? Only one? Awesome, awesome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, you're going to have to teach all the rest of them. How many past district governors? Yeah, awesome. Good. How many secretaries or treasurers? Okay. How many membership chairmen? Oh, that's good. Awesome. Thank you for being here. How many Rotarians that don't do anything? No, I can say. How many? You know, some of us are developing those leadership skills. Some of you will be learning that kind of indirectly without even knowing it. You're going to be put on a committee, and then maybe eventually you're going to be a chairman of a committee, maybe eventually president of your club or a club officer or board member. Leadership opportunities and leadership development is more than that. It's actually working with leaders in our communities. It's bonding with our neighborhoods to create an impact in our community. You know, that's all part of the leadership and leadership development aspect. So those are the things that our customers want. And basically they want to know, is this going to be worth my time? Is joining Rotary, is staying in Rotary going to be worth my time? Is it going to be of value to me? And be thinking about that when you're looking for new members as you're trying to develop programs for your club. You know, think about, is it going to be worth people's time? What do they want? And we know what they want. Local impact, friendship, growth opportunities, expression of their skills, leadership abilities. So we need to make it worth their time to do that. Anybody here at the radio station WIIFM? What does that mean? What's in it for me? Yeah. Nice radio. So that's basically why a lot of people join Rotary, because they're looking for, what am I going to get out of this? Now, we all know that once you get into Rotary and start getting involved, that changes, right? It's not what's in it for me. It's what can I do to help other people and help our community and help people globally. Most people join because they want friendships. They want to make an impact. You know, what's going to be of value to them? What's in it for them? So we need to do that. We need to provide value. We need to show them what's in it for them. All these things that we can do for them. And once they figure that out, they're going to be serving the community like you can't believe. So attraction and retention. In a way, it kind of goes together. In a way, it has to have kind of a consistent message, because as we want to attract people, we are looking for, you know, different things we can do to attract people to our club. But at the same time, once they get to our club or see our club, is that going to be the same message that attracted them? In other words, if you say, yeah, we're a fun club, we do all these local activities, and we, you know, do this, and then they get to your club, what do they find? Do they find an opposite message? Kind of like two magnets that repel? Or is it going to be the same? Are they going to see what you're talking about? Are they going to see you doing what you say you're doing? Okay? And so that's a big piece of it. We need both the attraction piece and the retention piece, but they have to kind of work together. The message has to be the same. And as we go through some of the samples today, you know, I need you to think about that and take a look and see what your message is, and is that message consistent? Because that will really help in retaining and attracting the members, especially retention part. As we talk about this brand experience again, the Rotary brand experience, So everybody knows that brand. You know what it means. You know what it represents. You know the quality. You know the history. You know that's you just know it without even knowing anything else. You see that, you know. How about this one? Yep. Do other people know? Nah. Yeah, we know, but according to that survey, 4 to 8 out of 10 people don't know much when they see that symbol. And so what are we doing to, expand our Rotary branding experience to, everything we do? You as a Rotarian can do that. A club, as a club, can do the same thing. And just having a logo is only part of it. We changed the Rotary logo. Did you know that? This is the new Rotary branding logo. It's not just the circle anymore. The reason is because they wanted to make sure Rotary was prominent. On the circle, if you can't see the Rotary, you have to know what the wheel means, and not very many people knew what the wheel means. So now at least they see the word Rotary. But that's just a part of it. That's only one piece of our branding experience is the logo. And it's what that logo means. It's what it promises, what it represents. And so that's what we need to be pushing when we go out in the community to attract and retain people. Is what is our Rotary brand experience? What does this symbolize? What does it mean? What are we all about? And be thinking about that. And here are some of the things that it means, right? Fun. Anybody not have a fun club? I won't say that. Hopefully you all have a fun club, right? We brag in Wenatchee we have 4 clubs. We say we're the fun club. That's what we introduce ourselves. Yeah, we're the fun club. Now that means when people come to our club, they better experience fun, right? Otherwise it's going to be like, whoa, they're telling me one thing, this is boring. So we want to make sure that when they come to the club meeting, they're having fun and they see all the energy that we're doing. The inclusivity, inclusion, including other people, including a diverse group, welcoming. And we're going to talk about these things, by the way, because pretty soon we're going to introduce you to Mary Smith, and we're going to walk Mary Smith through being introduced to Rotary all the way through being a valued member in Rotary. But part of it is the welcome. Part of it are the friendships that are formed. That's part of our brand experience. Part of it is the relationships, which is similar to that. Service projects. Very important, especially in the retention, engaging of members. People want to serve the local community. They want to serve globally, some of them. If you don't have any service projects, you're saying, yeah, here's what we do, but we're not doing it. So service projects are a very important part of our brand experience. Good speakers, good programs, right? And we're going to talk about that when we talk about how club operates more specifically. But yeah, if you want to keep people engaged and make it a fun, lively time in a club, make sure the programs are uplifting and good. On page 22, there's a very short evaluation about kind of your club culture or your club brand experience. And just go mark each one of those from 5 being, doing really well, to 1 being like non-existent, struggling, or somewhere in between. And when you get done, do the 3 questions on the next page. Okay, now we are going to use this information in just a few minutes, because this talks about your club culture. And if all those are 5s, you're doing great. If all those are 1s or 2s, it gives you some areas that you might want to work on. But again, this is part of your brand experience. How are people coming into the club, and how are your members that are in the club perceiving this? How are they going to feel connected and engaged with your club with the results that you have shown there? By the way, this is always a good thing to do in your club. If you want to do this as a club activity, either the survey before or this one, because sometimes we assume our club members see things this way and they don't. Like we see, our club is really a fun club, and then you do the survey and you find out 50% say no, it's a boring club. So you don't know until you ask. So feel free to take these surveys and use them with your club, and use that as a starting point for some discussion about how your club can improve your brand experience. So now's the time I'd like to introduce you to Mary Smith. You all know, well, maybe you don't know Mary Smith. Mary recently moved into our community from Soil, Saskatchewan. Good Soil. You all know Good Soil? I love the name. Yeah, well, you just lost somebody from Good Soil. She moved here. She opened a neighborhood stationery store. The business is doing well. She joined the Chamber of Commerce and hosted a chamber mixer at her store last week. We're going to have the Rotarian here, also a member of the chamber, and attended the mixer. He thinks that Mary would be a good candidate for membership in the Rotary Club. So he's going to go into the store and invite her to a Rotary meeting. So this could be you or any of you doing this.
Hi, Mary. We met last week at the Chamber Social last week here at your store, and I was really impressed to meet you and impressed with the store and your drive. And I'm wondering, would you like to come to Rotary with me?
What is Rotary?
Well, Rotary is an organization of 1.2 million members, 34,000 social clubs across the Chamber of Commerce here at your store. I'm really impressed with your store and with your energy. Would you like to attend a Rotary meeting with me?
What's Rotary?
Glad you asked. Rotary is a leadership organization, leaders from business, civic, and organizational leaders in the community. We come together on a regular basis, form friendships, and through that we're able to make a difference and do things in our community.
First of all, here is the first classic message, and I have been in the past guilty of this too, because we are proud of Rotary. You know, we're wiping out polio. You know, we got worldwide stuff, and this is the message, but it's an old message, because what are people looking for? Local impact, friendships, leadership development, place where they can engage and utilize their skills. Was any of that in this message? None. Now, I have to caution you, there are people who love global stuff, like youth exchange people who have been on, you know, maybe Peace Corps or something like that, or who have done a mission project. And if you know that they enjoy the global service, go for the global service, right? You've got to customize this to who your audience is, but generally, that 75 to 90% of the people are not going to respond to this message very well. So the new message was a little bit better. And again, that's the focus. The message wants to be consistent with what people are looking for. And so in a second message, this is basically what Neil kind of said, and you can create your own, but this is, in a nutshell, and in 20 seconds, covers all four of those things that people are looking for. You've got your leadership. There's the word leadership organization. If people are interested in leadership development or rubbing elbows with leaders, you talk about that. Professional and civic leaders talk about friendships. We talk about getting things done in our local community. So the local is there, the friendships are there, the engaging in the skills and getting things done is there, the leadership development is there. A much better message if people are looking for those four things. And so people are going to respond. Now the thing is, I heard we're not supposed to call this an elevator speech anymore because the younger generation doesn't relate to that. I don't know if they don't take elevators or just, it sounds like an old term. So, well, whatever it is, you got 20 seconds or so to set the hook, right? Because that's really all the time. That's what's going to catch or turn them away is probably your first 20 seconds. Don't be afraid to stop there, because if you go too long, you don't give them a chance to follow up with any questions or, you know, ask you anything about, you know, why are you in Rotary, or, well, tell me more about it, or whatever. But you need to pique their interest and give them enough of what they're going to want, and this is a simple way to do that. So this is also in your book, and we're going to practice this, but again, this is just a sample. You can totally make this your own. The point is to have something. Have something to talk. When somebody comes up and asks you, what's Rotary? Have an answer for them. And say, well, let me see. We meet at the Red Lion and, you know, we're ending polio. Have something that meets these needs. Those four things that people are looking for, especially the friendships and the local community impact. So develop your own if you want to. Write it on a card. There's no harm in reading it. I've got it written on the back of my business card, so I just give it to them and they can read it. But whatever you want to do, just be sure to be prepared so that when somebody asks you, you can give them a good answer that within 20 seconds gives them a capsule of what our customers want. You know, we want people to ask us about Rotary, and we want to be able to tell them what Rotary is. And we want to be able to tell them our story and what really tugged at our heartstrings, and hopefully they can identify with that. So this is a key part of attracting people. So, you know, Mary Smith, she got kind of the short version, and now, you know, Neil's going to explain to her a little bit more about why he was in Rotary. And then Mary Smith thinks about it. She said, this may not be too bad. What's the next thing she's going to do? Research. You're going to Google it. Exactly. She's going to check out your website. and your Facebook page, especially if they're younger people. But what are they going to see on your website? What do they see on your Facebook? Is it going to be consistent with the message that you told them? Is it going to be about friendships? Did they see that on your website and your Facebook page? You see people getting things and doing things together? Did they see something about helping local community? Projects, things like that, pictures of that? Did they see people maybe working with leaders, doing their skills? If not, now's a good time to take a look at that. So I'm just using this one. But again, just a sample of one where you've got people doing things, you've got, and the wording. It's not all about, Rotary is ending polio, help join an organization of 1.2 million people worldwide. They should be articles that suggest local things and fun and friendships and fellowship and social events and leadership development and, that kind of thing. That should be on your website and your Facebook page front and center, because that's who we're trying to attract, right? Yeah, thank you for that comment, because that's the other, not only putting a picture of who we are, but make sure it's accurate and timely. When they go in and see officers on there from 2 years ago, or an event back in 1916, back right after Rotary was founded, that's kind of long. So update things periodically. This is a task. It's not an easy thing to do, but if people are going to go check it, and if it's out there, if you're going to use one, make sure it's current. Instagram, Twitter's, a lot of different things, a lot of different ways. So again, if you have especially a younger generation person that knows how to turn on a computer and get on Instagram, they may be willing to help set that up for you. But whatever you set up, make sure it's consistent with your message. Make sure it shows the fun that you're having, the local impact that you're doing. Make sure that it's current, up to date. And that's, very important point. So basically, this is going to be part of their first impression, right? Before they even get to the club, a lot of those people are going to check it out, and that's the first impression they're going to get. We talked about a visual identity. So again, you can go to Rotary International website, open up the My Rotary, and you can get into the media, the brand center, and you can create your own logos. There's templates there. All you need to do is put in your club name or your Rotaract name or whatever. The Rotary wheel is kind of disappearing, and these other forms are taking its place. Yeah, a lot of things we can do with that, because we want to get the word out. We want to make sure that when people see this, they know it's Rotary, and then we need to make sure they're seeing our whole brand experience. They know what that means, or we're going to tell them what it means or show them what it means. So that's all part of it. In District 5050 zone, western part of the zone public image chair, if you have any questions, if you want to send him any pictures of your website or Facebook to critique, if you need some help creating that, or you've got people in your own district. I know Robin could probably help you with that. Robin, nail him down. If you have questions or want public image stuff, he can help you. Mary decided she's going to visit the club. Neil was persuasive enough with what's Rotary and telling about his story, and she went and checked out the website and thought, oh, this looks pretty cool. So she's going to go to the club. And again, we're going to take a look and see her progression through the club, starting with the introductions.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to the ABC Rotary Club. Are you a guest today?
Yes, I am.
Good. Come on in. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Are you a guest today?
Yes, I am.
Good, good. You're a guest of?
Chuck.
Chuck. Chuck's not here right now, but I'm sure he will be shortly. So come on in.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm great.
Good. Well, welcome to the ABC Rotary Club. Are you a guest today?
Yes, I am.
I'm Neil Berg. Welcome, welcome. You're a guest,
Smith.
Mary Smith. Pleased to have you here. You're a guest of who
Chuck.
today? Chuck. Chuck is, don't see Chuck here right now. I'm sure he's going to be here in a few minutes. I'd like to introduce you to Manon. Manon, this is Mary Smith. This is Manon. Could you just make sure that Mary's welcome here until Chuck shows up?
Sure, come on, let's go have
Thanks.
Gee, judging from the applause, you must have done better that time. Fourth time's a charm. So again, first impressions. How welcoming is your club? And you can get a real sense of that just by watching on a daily basis or visiting another club, seeing how they do it. But it's nice to be welcomed properly. again, some of you probably have had experience where you come in and nobody's even there at the greeting table, or they just point you a direction, and you don't know what to do with food or paying or any of that stuff, and that's kind of the first thing that visitor is going to experience, and the warm welcome, and then hopefully being introduced to somebody, being introduced to some of your club leaders, and then later on, hopefully the sponsor will get a chance to talk about her a little bit more. Usually the first item of business, bell rings. Okay, let's all bow in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the amazing blessings you've given to this club. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. How many clubs start that way? Similar. Oh, good. Now, the thing is, this is part of a lot of cultures, a lot of clubs' culture, and there's nothing wrong with that. Remember that we're dealing with other people coming in, what they're looking for, how welcoming we're going to be. Remember about the diversity issue, and that includes religious diversity as well. Sometimes, even though it's part of our club culture, people feel excluded if we have invocations the same way or not. Some clubs feel very awkward if they don't. So you just need to basically take a look at your own club culture, and whatever that is good. But just be mindful that and people coming in, we don't want to feel exclusive. So those clubs have gone to like a Rotary moment, or alternating between an invocation and Rotary moment. I mean, it could be a big thing to some people. So just to be aware that that's one of the things that Mary will experience when she comes to the club.
Just further to the comment over here as well, one of the things that you're going to get from the district membership team is a toolbox. And one of the things that we are going to put into that toolbox is some specifics about training or educating the greeter, the mentor, the introducer of the speaker, etc., so that we're all on the same page. Because you're absolutely right, Jim's right, that not everybody is starting from the same place. Thank you.
How about singing? How many clubs sing? Yeah. That's another sore point with some people. That's part of a club's culture. However, last year, when they had a young generations meeting, some of those younger folks said there are two things that turn them off to Rotary meetings. One is the money, another is singing. It's just not part of their culture. It doesn't, it makes them feel uncomfortable. Now, for some of us, we like to start the day with a song. And sometimes it depends the song. If it's Row, Row, Rotary, that's a little outdated. But, a patriotic song, or, somebody who plays the piano and gets people up and going. So, again, whatever your club culture is okay. Just be aware that it may keep people from joining the club if it feels uncomfortable or foreign to them. So you don't have to change, but some clubs have, just to get more people included and attract a younger generation. So just a thought on that. Same thing with money. We ask, when they come in, what do they see? They see the sergeant at arms collecting money, or the sheriff. They see happy bucks, sad bucks. They see we need to give to the foundation. Say, here's a local charity. Here are the cups. Put in for Polio Plus. And that's what they think is, well, they just want me for my money. Be sure to explain to them all about the money stuff ahead of time. But also, are there ways that we could keep from dinging everybody for money all the time? Are there other things we could do? Could we reduce meal prices? Could we, just things that each club has to think about, because each club is different. But know that money is one of the things that the young generation thinks that's kind of all we're after. That's kind of their picture of our brand, is getting money. So just be aware of that. I'm going to ask Neil to introduce his guest today.
Good morning, fellow Rotarians. I am very pleased today to introduce my guest, Marita Smythe. Morning, fellow Rotarians. I'm really pleased today to be able to introduce my guest, Mary Smith. Mary is recently moved. Fellow Rotarians, it's another beautiful day at the Rotary Club of Bodo Breakfast Club. On our agenda today, don't forget, it's November, and we all know what that means. It's TRF and EPN. Okay, and our club wants to make sure that we are EREY, as we have been every year. Also, later this month, we've got a visit from the DG and the AG.
So you get the picture. We that have been in Rotary for a while, we don't think about this, right? I mean, we know most of these terms. We assume everybody else does, and of course that's the wrong assumption. Even Happy Bucks, we don't know what that means. So we don't want to talk a foreign language. Remember that this could be a visitor's first time, or even a new Rotarian that's been in for a year may not have heard a lot of these acronyms that we use, or not know what they mean. Here we talk about TRF for the first year, and the poor guy doesn't even know what we're talking about. So part of the education for members, but it's also part of explaining to a guest when you have them, we're going to be talking about, the TRF, that means the Rotary Foundation, and Happy Bucks, that's when we do this. And so kind of explain to them along the way so they kind of know what's going on in your meeting instead of being uncomfortable. And the other thing is when you start finding people or people are donating money, make sure your guest knows they don't have to do that. Unless, of course, you do want them to do that. But, make sure that, because sometimes I've seen guests reach for their pocket book, when they're donating for polio, it's like, you don't have to do this. So make them feel comfortable, they're guests. Anybody have first dates? I hope everybody's had a first date. If you didn't have a first one, you couldn't have a second one. So think, yeah, thank you. Think back about that first date. So Mary, we had a good date, didn't we? Have a good time together? Yeah. You want to get married? Rotary can be the same way. Mary, did you enjoy coming to our meeting? Yeah. Do you want to join? Sometimes we pop the question right away before, give them a chance to breathe. Give them a chance to come back to a meeting. Give them a chance to talk outside a meeting with people. Sometimes we scare people away by asking the question too soon. I've been guilty of this myself. They come to a meeting, oh, you'd be good in this Rotary Club. You want to join? I mean, and they don't want to hear that yet. Okay? Think about it from their perspective. It should be all about them, not about us. After all that, how did Mary feel? We've got to, when a big guest comes and the guest leaves, ask yourself, well, how did that guest feel, do you think? Were they treated warmly? Were they educated? Did they see the fun that was going on? Did they feel valued? And and if the answer is yes, you probably did a good job, and invite that person back again. Follow up with a phone call. See if she has any questions, and then go from there. Those are the things that Mary Smith values. So see if you have shown that. That's the message. Did she see that when she came to your club?
Project last Saturday. How did you like that?
Oh, I loved it. It's
Is there something I can do for you?
Oh, hi. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you.
And crashing our little private party. Just kidding, buddy. We have William Billobin back.
Actually, it's Bill Ballenbeck.
Well, with a name like that, you need an instruction manual. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah. Oh, and it says right here that Bill is an attorney. That's just what we need, right? Yeah, another attorney telling us what to do.
Yeah, actually, I do probate law.
That's all right. Sit down, Bill. If we let this guy keep going, we'll be here all night. Am I right? Am I right?
Great. All right.
See ya.
aspect of what we do all the way through, from the very beginning. Thank you. From the very beginning, when the person comes to the door, how he's welcomed, how he's introduced, how he's made aware of things, and even the leaving at the end of the day. You know, left at the table is not a good thing. So hopefully none of you have had that experience, and your guests will not have that experience. Perhaps this is more like your club. You know, it's more than just a place where people go hang out and have beer, right? I mean, it's a connection. It's a community place. People where everybody knows your name. You know, I like a Norm. We want Rotary to be that too. A place where everybody knows your name. There is, you have to make opportunities to do this sometime. We mentioned that we want people to know our name. We want people to know our vocation, our passions, our skills, a little bit about us. And how many of you, just raise your hand, how many of you know the name and vocation of every person in your club? Okay, that's good. How many, raise your hand if you think everybody in your club knows your name and vocation. Okay? So just take a look at those fun things. There are opportunities that we can make as a club. We can create opportunities for people to get to know each other, and we need to do that. Most clubs have classification talks, which is a good thing. We need those, but sometimes you can't get the new people in to a classification talk fast enough. So there's other things you can do there too. Short 2-minute rapid fire questions that the person gets ahead of time. Or maybe having a round at a table where each person has 2 minutes. So a lot of fun things you can do, but it has to be deliberate. So as a president or a club officer or a membership person, you know, work with your officers, work with your president to make sure that some of these things happen occasionally. Yeah, our club classification talks are the most fun programs because they really get a lot out of it. Some clubs do 2 in one program. They do a new member and an older member, the same program, you know, just 10, 15 minutes each. And whatever you want to do, just make sure you give time. And that's a good idea because the old members that have been around for a long time, that doesn't mean the newer members know anything about them. So reclassifications is also a cool thing. Now, the good news. Mary, even after coming to our club, still wants to join. Now, during this process, she had been introduced to Rotary. She's been to a club meeting maybe 2 or 3 times. She's been through an orientation, so she knows up front what's going to be expected of her. And I'll have to say at this point that orientation is probably the first step, well, maybe first impression is the first step, but orientation is one of the first steps to retaining your members. Because if you don't have an orientation, if they don't know what they're expected to do, or what's expected of them, and then they get surprised when they join, it won't be long before they leave. So you should always have an orientation before the person joins to make sure, you know, these are the benefits of being a Rotarian. Here are our stories, a little bit about you. Here's what we expect our members. Here's how much it's going to cost. Here's the time that we expect people to put in. All that stuff needs to be up front so they're clear that they know what they're getting into. So if you don't have an orientation, you could wind up with trouble later on. Also, maybe this person, maybe Mary Smith, has been assigned a mentor already. Usually the induction is done by the president or a membership chair. So we're going to turn the induction over to her actually not her sponsor, to Neil.
Great, thank you. Fellow Rotarians, today I'm very excited to bring in a new member to our club. Mary, please come up and join me. You know, Mary, Rotary is an organization with 1.2 million members and 35,000 clubs. Fellow Rotarians, today I am very excited to bring in a new member to our club. Mary, please come and join me here. Mary brought her husband and kids with her today. Mary owns a stationery store in town and is going to be a great asset to our club. You know, Mary, Rotary is an organization of 1.2 million members and 35,000 clubs. Fellow Rotarians, today I am very excited to bring in a new member to our club. Mary Smith, could you join me here, please? And please bring up your husband, Bill, and son, little boy, Mark. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have the pleasure of inducting our newest member, Mary Smith, with her husband, Bill, and a chemical engineer with Beckman Industries, and their son, Mark, who is a student at Livingston Middle School. Also with her today is her sponsor, Chuck Williams. Chuck, could you come up, please, and join us? Mary, we're looking forward to you joining our club. You'll find when things are going well, a support system when they're not. You'll also find that our families are an integral part of the Rotary experience. So Bill, Mark, you're always welcome to join us, to have breakfast, to share news, to participate in our projects, and to be part of our family of Rotary. As you know, Mary owns Smith Stationery store that she opened here 6 months ago, and she's also an active member of the Chamber of Commerce. Now let me tell you a few things about Mary. Mary graduated with honors from the University of Alberta with a commerce degree major in business administration. Before relocating here with her family from Austin, Texas, she was a business representative and then department manager with the Apple division in Austin, Texas. She's an avid hiker. She also has an airplane pilot's license, owns a Cessna 172, has flown across the country, and she tells me as well that she's used that airplane to transport medical patients as part of the Angel Wings program. Mary tells me she's a bad skier, but a good golfer. And with a 10 handicap, that is really going to help our club next month with a golf tournament with the other Rotary clubs in the area. Mary, I'm presenting you with some key Rotary documents, including the four-way test and the object of... Mary, I've given you a sponsor pin that I'd like you to pin on Chuck to signify that he sponsored you today. Thank you. Welcome. Thanks, Chuck. Thanks for bringing Mary. Mary, let me ask you, in order to share the Rotary experience, will you invite another person of the same qualities of leadership and integrity as you to visit our club someday?
Absolutely.
Very good. Mary, welcome to the Rotary Club of Bodo Breakfast. You are now the newest Rotarian in the world. Fellow Rotarians of the Rotary Club of Bodo Breakfast, I am proud to introduce to you Mary Smith, the newest member of our Rotary family.
Why or how was that so much better? Why was that? How was that better? More personal. Personalized is good. It's all about her. You know, it's going to be about them. We want them to be a part of our club because we have things to share that are going to help them. You know, it's going to be a value to them to join our club. Why do they need our club? Because we're going to provide these things, leadership and local impact and friendships and fellowship and, you know, ability to work with leaders and get your vocation and your, you know, your personal skills engaged. And, you know, those are the things they're going to want to hear. So don't talk at all about numbers. I said, that's going to come. That'll come anyway. You don't have to ever advertise or feel pressure or for sure pressure them to join because we need more people. We need more people, but not for that reason, right? How is the new they come in? Do they feel valued? I mean, you're getting to know them. They're, you know Bill's profession now as an engineer, civil engineer. You know Mark in his middle school. That family is going to feel valued. And are they going to support Mary in her Rotary projects a little bit better? I think so, because they're going to feel connected to that Rotary Club. So it's going to be well worth your $10 per person for the meal if you have to pay for the meal, I think. But that's up to your club. Let's talk, right? Just from the induction, you have some things in common. Some of you have things in common with her. Use those things. Don't just let her go out the door or the next week when she comes in. You know, use those connections to talk about the things you have in common so that you get to know each other better. That's how the friendships and the relationships start. And that's how we know more about her. So that kind of induction does a lot of different things, and it takes a little longer, but again, it's well worth it because you're going to have a member that feels a vested interest in the club. You're going to get the connections of the group. You're going to get the connections of the family, the sponsor. It's just a great way to do things. This induction, by the way, is also in your book. Do you have to do it that way? No. Make it your own thing, but the main thing, get those key elements in there if you can. And and especially about the person. You can't always get their family there, but at least mention their family and their interests. It goes a long ways. Retention is a big issue, and personal induction and orientation, those are key things. But let's talk about skills and passions, because this is something, again, Mary Smith probably would like to be, she has some skills. She's a stationery store owner. She has some other skills and passions that she wants to bring to the club, and she would probably like to do that. That's one of the things that people say that they join. So we're going to find out, and Neil's going to ask her a little bit about that.
Manon, you're an accountant, right?
Yes.
That is perfect, because we're going to put you on the Treasurers Committee, because that's always been a bugger to fill. Thank you.
We want to engage their passions and skills for what they want to engage them for, not for our purposes. So it's very simple. A treasurer is a tough job to find. So who gets asked? Bankers, accountants, bookkeepers. They do that all day. Maybe they don't want to be a Rotary Club treasurer. Let somebody else do it. So don't assume, just because that's what they do, that they would fit in that position. I mean, they might, but let them express where they would like to serve and how they would like to use their passions. A couple of different things that are in your book. One is an actual new member guide. How many clubs have a written new member guide? Okay, 1, 2, awesome. That's 45 to go. So this is something that you can do. There's a sample in there. Again, you can revise this anyway, but this is where you can give the member all kinds of information that they can read after they're inducted, to go home, check it out, all your history of Rotary International, if you want to put that in there, club expectations, projects, whatever you want to put, but it's a guide, information, so they'll know more about your club and will have some answers, just maybe from looking at that resource. Yes, and that brings us to the next point, the mentorship. So this is one of the keys to good retention. Clubs that have mentors, active mentors, that can mentor a new member, have a far greater rate of success as keeping those people. And sometimes we have mentors, and we'll say, Jack, could you mentor this person? They say, sure. And then that's the end of it. And say, well, Jack's going to be your mentor. Call him if you need help. Does he ever call? No. You need to set up a mentorship program, and an effective thing is to have actually a written mentor guide so mentors know what their expectations are. Maybe one of their expectations is to help the new member get through that checklist that we were talking about of what you need to do to get your new member sticker off or a blue badge turned to a whatever. If your club has a checklist, that should be the mentor's responsibility to make sure that that person knows how to check those things off and works with them on that. Also, their responsibility maybe to invite them to different socials or different projects, to educate them. So it's not just being available for answering questions, it's being proactive, working with that person, and a written guide is a good way to keep that consistent in your club. If you can pair somebody up with somebody with a common interest, somebody that has a little bit of Rotary knowledge, that works pretty well, or a committee, whatever your club decides, try to find some kind of a way to get a mentorship in there somewhere. Long-term members, sure, the new members aren't the only ones that drop out of Rotary, right? The biggest percentage are the ones from the first 3 or 4 years in Rotary have the greatest number of dropouts because they never get really engaged. But sometimes we have the long members that have been engaged, but now they're unengaged. They have either feel they passed their time, they somehow feel useless, or they're too old, or whatever. How can we keep them engaged? But basically, they need to stay involved, and they need to see be valued. So what can you do to keep your older, experienced members involved? What kind of things can you give them to do? What kind of jobs can they have? What kind of things can they be in charge of? Make them feel valuable and special, because they are. They have a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. We talked about service projects, being key. The foundation, that stuff is one of the things that you're going to get them involved in and educate them about. Which brings us to the fourth key, and that is, being in the know, being educated. This is another thing that I think our Rotary clubs fall down a little bit on, is educating new and existing members. That's a big job, because Rotary is a big organization with lots of acronyms and lots of things that we do. But being in the know, knowing about Rotary gives them more of a sense of pride and belonging, helps them get engaged and integrated into the club more. So whatever you can do to educate that, whether it's through a mentor or whether it's through different things you do in your club, Rotary moments, firesides, whatever it is, take some time, make education a priority at some point throughout the year. Anyway, the council legislation, for those of you that don't know, meets every 3 years. There were a representative from every district at that meeting. They pass enactments and resolutions. So we're not going to get into that. However, you should know that out of all the proposals, there were a lot of things. This is kind of a monumental year for the council because they passed resolutions and enactments that allowed Rotary clubs to do a whole lot of different things on their own. Flexibility. Things that were not in the bylaws or constitution before. They've opened up a whole bunch of things. Things that your club can do differently to help attract and engage people, to help retain your members. What are anybody doing anything different real quickly? Like anybody cut down their meetings from 4 to 2 or 3? Anybody using a social or service project in place of a meeting? Anybody have corporate memberships or family memberships? So these are just samples of things that clubs can do, and there's an amazing amount of things, and we're not going to go over all of them, but just ask your district people the resources that you have, the other clubs that have done different things and that have worked. Your club may need to try something different. If you've got a club that's not growing in membership, if they're declining, if things are getting kind of stale, do something different. There's some flexible things that we're allowed to do now that would really maybe be helpful. So take a look at that. Think about all of your brand experience that you do. Think about the flexibility. Think about the diversity out there. How can you attract all these other types of people that you'd like to have in your club? Other people that would love to have fun and form friendships and help you in your service projects. And maybe figure out some different ways that would appeal to them. Maybe some different types of meetings or ways to meet or times to meet or whatever it is. I'm curious. I'd be curious to find out. We don't have time, but to find out what clubs are doing things different and how it's worked. Okay, now we are going to use this information in just a few minutes because this talks about your club culture. And if all those are 5s, you're doing great. If all those are 1s or 2s, it gives you some areas that you might want to work on. But again, this is part of your brand experience. How are people coming into the club and how are your members that are in the club perceiving this? How are they going to feel connected and engaged with your club with the results that you have shown there? By the way, this is always a good thing to do in your club. If you want to do this as a club activity, either the survey before or this one, because sometimes we assume our club members see things this way and they don't. Like we see, our club is really a fun club, and then you do the survey and you find out 50% say no, it's a boring club. So you don't know until you ask. So feel free to take these surveys and use them with your club and use that as a starting point for some discussion about how your club can improve your brand experience. So here are some resources really quickly. I'll mention them. Your district has a website. This is not it. But soon on your district website will be a membership section, right? Where you can get all these resources online. So you can just go to your membership section, find all the resources you would like, and electronically print them off or whatever you'd like to do with those. Zone 24 and 32, which you're a part of. And up at the top is a little membership area. And if you go down, you'll find some resources. I put this Zone 25, 26 up just because a lot of this came from them. And if you can't find it on our zone yet, because it's in the process of being reconstructed, you can get it on their zone website. We share. But they're the ones that came up and do some of these presentations originally with us, so they're glad to share all that stuff. And of course, Rotary International, get into the member side, and you've got all kinds of not only learning things, but brand things, all kinds of information on that site. Part of the resources are in electronic or written form. These are just a few. Most all of these are in your book, by the way. Being a vibrant club, kind of gives you some steps to go through to be a vibrant club, to get some exciting things happening, to make your club fun and exciting and engaging, and some steps that you can do from strategic planning all the way up. Another one is called the membership resource guide, which is about 4 or 5 pages of good resources. If you get on the website and get this electronically, all those things in blue will be actually linked to different things. If you use the paper copy, you can push it as hard as you want, but it still won't link to it. So just a clue there that electronic stuff is good. So here's some things you can do right away, and especially with the presidents and president-elects here, you have the power and membership chairs to get your clubs working on doing some of these things. How can we turn those no's into yeses right away? Some of them. 2 or 3. Just pick a couple. What can we do different? And then maybe further down the line in the next month, what can we do to turn a couple of yeses into no's? No, a couple no's into yeses. Yeah, good idea though. Find the clubs that are growing. And also Robin has a good blog. You know, get on Robin's blog and he has examples of things that are working, right? And if you have anything that's working well, share it with Robin, share it with Neil, share it with Christine, share it with Rick, share it with your district leaders, share it with the zone, so other people can see what you're doing and use that. So don't be afraid to share those answers. Okay, well, I want to thank you for giving up your Saturday morning, and hopefully you can take a lot of things away. But this is just the start, hopefully, of your conversations. But please, when you go back to your club, do something, right? Take some of these action items and make them, put them into practice, and be interesting to hear in 6 months or so the great job this district is doing. You're probably going to set the records this year. So
thank you for the information, for the guidance that you've given us today, for the leadership that you have modeled with us today. So another round of gratitude for our friend Jim. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Rotary Membership Priority 1. If you didn't download the workbook, go to rotary5360.ca or just Google it. Share a link to this video with other Rotarians in your club or district. If you're not a Rotarian and live in Alberta or Saskatchewan and would like to learn more, go to rotary5360.ca to find a club near you. Make that Rotary membership Priority 1.